What's going on, world? This is your boy Big Business. We're back here live. What's Real Hip Hop? Taking it to a different level with this Trendsetters and Go Getters of the Bay. A different episode this time around. We're branching out, bringing on artists and bringing on business people, and kind of trying to put the knowledge back into the people, either through music or either through herbal remedies or things of that nature. What are you talking about? You're gonna find out on this episode. Got a couple of guests today, and I rehearsed the name, so I think I'm ready. Arminda Cologne. She is a businesswoman. She's an herbalist. She has a technological company. Just kind of fascinating what she's going to bring in store. So excited to have you kind of bringing the knowledge back into the arena, you know, because it's missing, especially in music and entertainment. Right. So we need to have that infused back. And also have my man Mike Maz here, amazing lyricist. You know, the substance in his lyrics is basically, it's not a lot of cats out here really doing it like that, because there's a consciousnness to your lyrics, and there's still some improvisational type of skill. You know, you take it back to Africa and go a couple different continents and come back with it. So glad to have you here, especially because you're lyrical. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about, giving somebody enough to where it's like, man, what did he say? I need those what did he say type lyrics and that what did she say type knowledge. So I'm gonna ask you to brag on yourself a little bit, because you do so much. You do so much, and I want you to tell listeners and crowd viewers, what do you do and what you specialize in?
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm a technologist, like he said, where I own a computer company where I'm a programmer. I make apps and websites and all that kind of stuff. So basically anything technical, I'm able to do it. I'm very talented with anything that comes as far as technology. I also have two businesses. One is Myco Creations, where it's an eco-friendly company where I produce products with benefits. And basically those products are all natural. All the ingredients come from nature. And what we're putting into our body is just as important as we put onto our body. And so through my companies, which are Myco Creations and Roots R Us, I give the information to help empower people to make better decisions, because ultimately your health is in your hands. So yeah, I'm also an herbalist, like he said. Myco Creations and Roots R Us, they basically piggyback off each other. They're sister companies. One, I help people with their health and I sell seeds. The other, I make natural products, deodorant, hair products, makeup, all from nature. So basically I do a little bit of everything.
And I'm so glad to have you here. And I know there's somebody out there in the audience, not the audience that we have here in the building, but they're like, what does that have to do with music? First of all, it has a lot to do with music, because music used to reflect what was going on in the community, what was going on, and there are things that are happening that are destroying people that we're just not aware about. You know what I'm saying? Like body parts being sold on the black market, you know, certain stuff you already know in the water. You know what I'm saying? All these things are really happening. People are making music about it, but the truth is we already know that some of that music's not even getting out, because who owns these record labels? The same people who are actually filtering the music are filtering the water. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta have some kind of knowledge to where, okay, this is what's happening, and that needs to be infused in people's minds when they make these decisions. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we have those people who didn't really understand why we have her here. That's why we have her here. And my man Mike Maz, are you international yet, man? You was out in Cali a little bit.
I haven't been out of the country yet, but we are planning to go to Poland. I got a nice fan base out there. Shout out to my man Marcin Vitali, who's out there. He's a producer in Poland. Right. We're gonna be going out there. I'm working on an album with him. All Gil Scott Heron samples. And the single is actually Like That, which is the YouTube video that's on YouTube right now. 20-something thousand views right now. I would like to make that 100,000. You guys check that out.
A businessman and an artist as well. You know, that's what we had to take to an international level. You know, people complain about the money not being here in this area. Well, sometimes you got to go get it. Let me get a little bit about how you started. How did you kind of become? So you had to look at things a little bit differently to get to the point you're at.
Right. Well, basically, I got sick of going to the store and just accepting what they gave me. Like, I didn't want half of the crap that was in there. I started, you know, once our son was born, we started thinking like we want to do the best for him. So I started researching, finding out all these truths, which they don't tell us. They keep us in the dark about stuff that's really hurting us. And so I started to just empower myself to find out the truth. That's my ultimate goal, and to pass that truth on to people. So I started researching, reading my labels, finding out like, what is this? Why is this in here? Only to find out it was poison and it was really causing problems. So I just got to the point where I'm gonna start making my own stuff, and I'm gonna start connecting with people who know how to make theirs, bring it back to what it's supposed to be, bring it back to nature. And that's how I got to where I am now.
And I'm coming back to you in a second, but I wanted to kind of, you know, because this is important. What are like 2 or 3 of the things that when you found out about what was being done kind of changed how you viewed how you did that interaction? Like, for example, eating. Like, you might have had a favorite food, but then once you found out what was in it, you kind of like, wait a minute, I can't do this, or something of that nature.
Right, well, I used to be a big fan of Snickers.
Okay.
And Doritos, and, you know, basically just everything we know as food. I was a big junk food person. And like I said, when I started doing the research, I started finding out that 99.9% of the ingredients were fake. They were created in a laboratory, chemicals. And like I said, I delved deeper into that, and to find out it was causing cancer, it was causing fibroids and tumors, and making us dumb mentally. I said, oh no, that's not gonna be me, that's not gonna be my child, and that's not gonna be anybody that I know. And so, like I said, I just delved deeper into the information because I just didn't want to keep accepting what they were giving me.
Right.
Something inside of me just said, no, don't accept it. And so I just started asking more questions. I've always been a truth seeker.
Truth seeker, absolutely.
So when people don't want to give me the information, that makes me go harder. And I just went so deep that I just kind of blew the lid off of everything, and I just said, oh, I'm not going to stop here. So it didn't stop with food. But that's where it started because of our son. We wanted to do the best for him.
And that kind of thing is crazy, because when people say stuff like genetic engineering, they're programming us. People say, oh, that's conspiracy talk, this and that and other, you know what I'm saying? But when you go to other countries and you see they don't have cancer, and then they have you know, lifespans that are going into the 90s and 100 years old, and then, you know, a black man can live, you know, 65 years. The Bible says 70. You should be happy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why is that? Like, what are they doing over there? Where they getting that extra 25 and good, not in wheelchairs? You know what I'm saying? Out in the yard. You know what I'm saying? You know, manicuring and stuff like that. So the tie is, you know, what they're putting in our ears on these radio stations. I hate to say it, it's hot trash. You know what I'm saying? It's hot trash. It's recycled baby food. Like real talk. You know what I'm saying? Because I grew up in a different era.
I agree.
I have something to say about this.
And this is why I'm bringing it to you, because you bringing something totally different, and it's more like a secret that hadn't been told yet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like I want you to talk about how hard it was for you to not be like everybody else who's rapping.
So I'm 28. You know, I'm not like 21, 22. You know what I mean? I came up in the era where lyricism was the highest valued element of what a rapper does, which would make sense considering that the rapper's only contribution to music would be the lyrical contribution, as opposed to the producer who creates most of the audio experience. You know what I mean? Now, beat selection is the responsibility of the artist at the end of the day, or their management. But I think what's happening in well, I don't want to talk about that yet. Let's talk about my journey first. Right? So I came up battling, you know, in middle school, in the battle scene, freestyle battles. You know, the punchline thing was heavy. One of my biggest reasons for rapping today was actually Jim, poster boy, was 106 in Park Freestyle Friday. Freestyle Friday let me know that, oh my God, I don't have to be a famous rapper to be on BET. I can just be a good battle rapper, and then I can get my shot through this. without having to go through all the politics of, you know, the music industry.
Payola, rhetoric, all that.
Right. And what ended up happening was I started writing songs, and, you know, I was using industry beats, so, you know, it wasn't really anything that I could monetize. You know, this is when I was 15, 16, you know. And I started to say, all right, well, let me start making beats. You know, I got Fruity Loops downloaded on my little compact Presario, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I was rocking Fruity Loops, and I learned how to make beats on there. And then once I learned how to make my own production, I realized that my value as an artist got a lot higher. You know, once your value grows like that, to be a self-produced MC, and, you know, I consider myself to be a higher level MC, you know what I mean? It's like I'm in a wheelchair, I can't stand to run. 2 eyes on the prize like Indiana won. Red Fox by my side like I'm Sanford's son. If bars bullets, the wrong brother to hand a gun. Dreaming of China, the fried eel and camel hump. Letting my soul free. Red drop, couldn't find us in a nosebleed. Alright, that's it.
And that's the type of stuff. The type of stuff you have to rewind to fully appreciate, and you reveal something else the second time you see it. That's what I like about the lyricism that you bring. And I'm gonna go back to you, because on your YouTube, not the YouTube, the Facebook page, the things you post have your brain like, it's literally like, I can't sleep the same, because I feel like I need to make an adjustment based upon what I'm seeing. And you know, we as humans, we want to preserve ourselves, you know, that flight or flight situation, you know what I'm saying? When you feel threatened, you know what I'm saying, you either go, the blood goes to the feet and the hands, you know what I'm saying? I'm either gonna stand or I'm gonna run, you know what I'm saying? But the information you provide is like, you're not quite sure, because you can't run away from Earth. and it's damn sure hard to fight the system. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's like you're trying to swim against the tidal wave, so you almost have to say, okay, I'm gonna have to live different, or I'm gonna have to do something that is actually gonna have an impact on somebody besides myself, to feel like I have a purpose, like what you've done. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those situations where I want to dive into, you said that you had to change, you know, things based upon your son and what you wanted for him. What are some of the things that you changed after finding out some of the things that we discussed as far as, you know, being an herbalist and the Snickers Dorito situation? What are some of the things that you changed so maybe some of the viewers can change aspects of their life so they can get more from it?
Well, it's been 10 years, so it's a long process. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, it's real easy, just make the change. First, you just gotta you just gotta really want to do it. Willpower, that's the #1 thing. You just gotta want it, like anything else, passion. Like my passion was my son, that's what pushed me. And basically, the first things we started doing was we didn't vaccinate him. We stopped when we found out. Just, no, there's no reason to inject my son with poison. I'm not gonna do it. The next thing we did, we started taking out all of the white products out of the household. White sugar, white milk, white. Why? It's not because the products are bad, it's because they bleach it. If you're bleaching it, you're putting chemicals into it, you're taking out anything that was good for you, so what's left? Poison. You're just drinking poison. And what does that do to your body? It does ridiculous amounts of things to your body, but depending on who you are, you might not see it for 10, 15, 20 years. And at that point, you might not even have the ability to make a change, because with the GMOs, and that's the biggest thing, the biggest change I've made, I would say, is that we do not eat anything genetically modified. And why? If something is genetically modified, that means its genes were changed. It's no longer the thing. If you went to go eat a piece of chicken, it's not really chicken, it's fake. It was created in the laboratory. What's that doing to your body? That's changing your DNA. Right. You're no longer going to be having human babies. You're gonna have a part of something that's not real inside of you, and when you go to have babies, you're passing that on. That baby could have a mental retardation, a physical retardation, or it just could be they can't think properly. They can't live their life how they should live their life because of what we ate. So we have the power to do the right thing. It's just get that knowledge. Don't let them tell you what's right. Go seek it, because we got all the information. Right. We got access to everything. There's nobody can tell you what to do. You gotta seek it. That's what I would say is we started with the vaccinations, and started with what was in our refrigerator, what was in our house, threw it away, and just started finding better ways to eat, think what's real. Like now I gotta research what is real.
Right.
I grow a lot of my stuff. I make almost everything from scratch. We make clothes, like everything. It came down to the point where I want to go back to the origin. I want to go back to what we really came from. Reconnect with who we really are. We can find that we have so much power if we stop giving it up. And it starts with the seed.
No doubt. Mass, with your music, it's a situation, you throw events as well, but the events you throw, I want to talk about some of the events you throw, because you don't throw them in traditional venues. You know, people think all the time, I got to throw it in the club, you know what I'm saying? I got to have the stripper and throw 100 songs. Like, that wasn't the origin one. It used to be in the park. First of all, everybody could go, you know, it was a kid-friendly environment, and you left your hot dogs, hamburgers. Now, that might not be good, but I'm just saying, you know. Right, good intentions, you know. So, it was fun, you know.
We had what we had, you know what I'm saying? We was in the hood. You know?
Right. Exactly, you know what I'm saying? But what it's turned into now.
Right.
You know, the cesspool of redundancy. You know what I mean? Like, cash is king, and I'm talking about not what you do.
I'm gonna comment on it. But go ahead.
So the type of events, tell them about some of the events that you do and how you kind of approach the music, and I'm not even gonna call it a music game, because game means people playing. I'm big business, I don't play.
Right.
You putting money into it, I don't think you're playing either.
I'm not playing.
So tell us a little bit about that journey in your events.
Got you. So our event company was, we call the Young Parisians. My initial business partner was B.O.B., the producer, who was the coolest motherfucker of all time. You know what I'm saying? Very, very fashionable dude. He's also a visual artist, graphic designer, composer. Like, he does everything. You know what I mean? And the first event we started was a beat battle. You know what I mean? A producer, what we call it a producer showcase, because we have 16 producers go head to head in a bracket style competition for a first place winner. And the first place we did it was this beautiful venue. It was across the street from Crowbar. You know what I mean? And what we try to do is we try to throw hip hop events in places where hip hop is not normally welcome, because that's the only way that we're going to push the boundaries of the perception of hip hop as dangerous or as, you know, a low income bracket of music, you know. And that's why we throw Wine and Rhyme, which is every first Monday at Nice, downtown Tampa. Wine and Rhyme is a gourmet cocktail, gourmet food event, you know what I mean? And it's free. You know, we do Asian fusion food there, old fashions, Moscow mules. These are cocktails in the realm of, you know, the cocktail culture, which is basically a culture of mixology. It's another avenue of expertise for anyone that wants to generate themselves a new interest or something like that.
Right.
You know, even wine, you know, it's wine and rhyme. So we promote the knowledge of wines and the knowledge of how wine is made and the process of how it's made.
Right.
And the different countries, you know, that contribute to the different tastes of wine. You know, what we're trying to do is we're trying to take our market, or the hip hop market, or what we like to refer to, or what they refer to as the urban market. Because that's the politically correct way to refer to us as of right now. It's urban.
To limit, to say, hey, this is where you belong. Don't Don't escape that
urban,
part.
meaning what urban means is people of color, quote unquote, right? And people who don't have a problem hanging out with people of color. That would refer to the urban market. The urban market, you know, it now includes, you know what I'm saying? So the urban market is the main demographic of every company's marketing plan right now. And that puts us in a position where we're like, oh, so you need our crowd, you need our fan base for your multi-million-dollar company to sell a 12-year Scotch whiskey that you have only been selling to people 50 and older for the last 40 years. You know what I mean? Right. We now have leverage from a business standpoint as a community, as a target demographic. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, we need people in our industry to step up and understand the business aspect of everything so that we can get the most out of this.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that the most people can benefit from them using, I won't say using, but utilizing, I guess I'll say, to make it a little more polite, utilizing the culture that we create in our everyday pursuit of entertainment. You know what I mean? Our everyday pursuit of entertainment is so captivating, not just to Americans, but to the world over.
Absolutely.
And that's why the world over has emulated the hip hop culture from America, which is the culture that we personally create. You know what I mean? I created an event, I'm sorry. We created an event, the Young Parisians, that basically promotes interests that are not traditionally considered to be the interests of what our target demographic is.
Right.
So what that's going to do is it's going to create expertise in multiple fields, not just bartending, mixology, even gourmet food. You know what I mean? And we don't only feature hip hop artists at Wine and Rhyme. We do acoustic folk artists, and we do rock bands at Wine and Rhyme. We also feature a comedian and a spoken word artist. You know what I mean? So it gives an opportunity for every avenue of entertainment to be highlighted and showcased through our, through our method of promotion and through our network.
A different event that someone could attend, you know what I mean? Or a different way of living, a different lifestyle where you can get the maximum out of food that you probably don't get, and you're paying, in some cases, more for the trash. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's one of those things that we have to, especially in this Bay Area, because this is what the foundation is, to continue to educate and empower other people through platforms like this and your event and your websites and businesses, to where people start to say, you know what, I'm not going to Walmart every time I need something to eat.
Right.
Yeah. I can go to the fresh market. I can go to someone who has a garden and they've been growing it in their backyard and trust them enough because they didn't put pesticides on the food.
Or I can go to Arminda's app and somebody will deliver it to me, like Uber Eats, because we are direct competitors with anything that's going on worldwide, because we have the power to do that. And as long as we have the power to do that, it's all about making sure that people are aware of our power to do that. That is called marketing.
On that note, I'm gonna leave last words, whatever you want to communicate, 30 seconds or less, to the people, and tell them where they can find what you're doing. Oh man, I'm gonna let the ladies go first.
Obviously.
And
I would just say, basically, you have the power, don't give it away. Put in the research, you got everything you need to find the information. Link with me, look for me, Micro Creations, Arminda Clone. I have recipes, I give free stuff. I'm not all about the money, I'm about empowering people, helping you get what you need to make a change. So if you just Google Arminda Clone, you'll find everything about me. Really appreciate you being here today.
So, once again, my name is Mike Mass. Follow me on Instagram, please. Mike Mass Music. Wine and Rhyme, the next edition is May 1st. This episode probably gonna come out after May 1st, probably, right? Every first Monday at Anise Global Gastro Bar, 777 North Ashley Drive in downtown Tampa, right across the street from Curtis Hickson Park. We are going to New York City, May 13th through 19th. I will be on Sway in the Morning for the second time. And I will also be attending Toka Tuesdays with DJ Tony Touch, B- Radio with DJ Able D. Shout out to the whole Duck Down Records crew. And I will be bringing multiple Tampa artists with me to New York, and we'll be doing 2 events. One of them will be the Art of Rap, sponsored by Symphonic Distribution. Shout out to them, our parent label. And the other one will be a partnership with an artist named Yours Truly out in New York. Shout out to you, bruh. We can't wait to come up there and get it poppin'. Mike Mass.
all right.
Young Parisians.
On that note, knowledge and power, you have it. You just gotta use it. We're out.